Hey guys, and welcome back to another video with me, Brooklyn. So I want to touch on this subject that everyone's been talking about on Facebook, on the news, YouTube, and it's about the young woman, Kadejah Brown, wife accused of murdering her husband on Facebook Live, okay? I'm going to turn around and see if I can show you all a picture. I'm reading off my laptop. This is Kadejah Brown. Okay. And she killed her husband on Facebook Live maybe 2 days ago. And I wasn't going to talk about it because, you know, I just wasn't going to talk about it. Everybody's talking about it, but I do have some things I want to say. Now, we're saying here that a Mississippi woman is in custody after authorities believe she murdered her husband on Facebook Live. Okay. The sheriffs said the county sheriff said deputies responded to a domestic violence call Saturday morning on the 500 block of Green Tree Drive. Okay, they arrested Kadejah Michelle Brown, 28, after believing she shot and killed her husband. Okay, authorities said the 28-year-old male victim died from a single gunshot wound and was pronounced dead on the scene. The couple were believed to be involved in an argument that turned physical. The incident was captured on Facebook Live. They recovered a 9mm handgun and other physical evidence. Brown was taken into custody without incident, okay? The history was shared to be domestic violence. They had domestic violence in their history. And I just want to say this. Women and men, okay? If you are in a relationship and everybody argues and have disagreements, everybody. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you're not arguing and you don't have a disagreement, then that's not normal either. Because you should have some kind of, nobody is the same. Everybody thinks different. Everybody feels differently, right? We all have feelings of anger. We all have feelings of happy times, but it's not the same experience because we're individuals. So you're going to have a disagreement with your spouse. That's just going to happen, right? But if it's becoming to a point where it's constant, then that's not good. It's not good. And I wanted to point out that a lot of times we as a people, we share and we air all our dirty laundry on social media. That is not what social media was meant. I don't think it's meant or was designed to do, Maybe it was designed for people to air out their dirty laundry, but I don't think that's what should be going on, I saw the video. It did not show the shooting, but you could hear the bullets. You could hear the pop, 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 right? She laid the phone down to confront her husband again. Now, the video that I seen, they were arguing in between the I'm gonna say like the living room and hallway maybe. He was trying to leave to go to work. He kept saying, get out my way, let me go to work. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to fight with you. Move out the way, let me go to work. She kept stopping him, pulling on him, telling him he should be there taking care of his kids. You ain't here taking care of your kids. You doing so and so and so. And you not doing nothing for your children. And he kept saying, move out the way. I want to go to work. She was the aggressor. Obviously, now what was taking place before she went on Facebook Live, I do not know, because she started the video as the argument was taking place. Her mother, the woman that evidently raised her and should be teaching her how to be a woman and carry herself like a lady. A lot of times we want to argue with these men and fight with these men. We being women cannot beat a man. And although you need to defend yourself and don't be abused, you have to learn to defend yourself sometime when you're just moving in silence. He pop you upside the head. Of course, you're not going to stay there and let him beat you upside the head. You're going to defend yourself. But that should be the last pop upside your head you get from some man. Okay? Same thing goes for a man. If a woman is popping you upside the head, you need to leave. our first instinct is to lay hands on people, and that's not the wise thing to do, right? So she kept going after him and going after him and going after him. The mother was in the background egging it on. I seen several different videos. She was in the background egging the argument on. She was right along with her daughter. And you get these mother-daughter duos that's going around wreaking havoc, and then when the consequences come, nobody wants to face the consequences. If this behavior was going on in this man's house, because if he's living there, it's his home too. I don't know if they were living, if that was their apartment together, the couple, or if they were living with the mother, I don't know. But wherever he lays his head, it's his house as well. Right? Wherever you lay your head, that's your home. It should be peaceful. The mother and the daughter were attacking him, verbally attacking him. Then she puts the phone down and she goes after him in another part where you can't see. And I hear him saying, "Get off me. Let me go. Get your hands off me. Don't touch me." So she was laying hands on this man. Okay? All of a sudden, you hear all this screaming and you hear all these bullets flying. I heard I'm thinking at least 2 to 3 shots. I know I did. The kids are screaming. She's screaming. Now the mother's screaming. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. When you are acting in your emotions, you're making a very bad decision when you are reacting with your emotions. Because as soon as she shot him, she come back to her senses. Now I don't want to go to jail, but it's too late. She's going to jail. The children have no mother now, and they have no father. And what I want to say is, if you are in a relationship that is getting to the point you got to lay hands on somebody, or you're verbally abusing somebody and they're calling you out of your name and you're calling them, you need to vacate the premises. You need to leave. Because there's no need. It's not going to end well. Wherever there's confusion, God is not in the mix. That's how you can tell when you're not supposed to be in that situation. Now, sometimes God can align people together and we mess it up ourselves. That can happen. He can align us together and we just mess up things ourselves. But a lot of times you can tell when you're out of order because it's a constant. It's a constant. It's always domestic violence. It's a constant. It's a constant. Okay? And you just need to vacate. If you don't like what somebody's doing, because she kept saying, you're not taking care of your children, you're not here, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. If you don't think that your husband is doing the things that he needs to be doing as a man, then you need to make some changes. But you can't change him. You have to change yourself. And you have to work on yourself. You don't like the situation. You need to fix the situation for yourself. And then you need to move in silence. Don't tell your left hand what your right hand is doing, spouse or not. You start making plans if you're not happy. If you're not happy, because you can't change the other person and make them do what you want them to do. The only person that can change them is them. If they want to do for you. If they want to take care of their children, they have to want to do that. Okay? You can't change them. Women, men, the same thing. If you have a wife that you don't like what she's doing, you go home, you the breadwinner, she's not cooking, she's not cleaning, she's not keeping herself up, her fingernails look like crowbars, her toenails all dusty and dirty, and you just not wanting that energy and you're not happy, don't pop somebody upside the head. Make some changes. Make some changes. You start off by talking to your spouse. And if things don't change, then you make changes for yourself and for your children. You don't kill the other person because you're angry at what they're doing. That's selfishness. You're thinking about no one but yourself. You're not thinking about the children and nothing else. You're thinking about how you feel. You're acting out of emotion. Is what you're doing. You're acting out of emotion. She was thinking about no one but herself. She was harping on, you're not taking care of your children. So somebody from the outside would think she's concerned about her children, but no, she really was not concerned about no one but herself. She was hurting. Because little children don't know who's taking care of them. They don't know their father is not contributing. They don't know their mother is not contributing unless you tell them. They just know they're eating. They got clothes. They got a place to stay. They got toys. They don't know all of that about he's behind on his child support. And they don't know. So she was hurting. She was mad at whatever this man wasn't doing right. Okay? But she was concerned. At the end, it was about herself. She was hurting. She wanted to end her pain. She wanted to end her pain. The kids were screaming, "Daddy, daddy, daddy" in the video. She wanted to end her pain. She hurt her children in the end. She was the ultimate person who hurt her children. She was the ultimate disappointment. It was her. This man kept saying, "Let me go to work." So obviously he had a job. Obviously he had a job. Now, what he was doing with his money, I don't know. She kept saying, "You're not taking care of your children. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. Blah, blah, blah." If you know that he's not doing what he's supposed to do, make changes. When I was married, way back when, my husband had a job and he called himself following his friends, and he wasn't going to pay the mortgage anymore because he wanted to hang out with his friends. He was tired of responsibility, was his words. "I want to hang out." But it's consequences to that. You have a house, a whole house, a wife, you have responsibilities, but now you don't want to do them things. I could have sat there and I could have said, "Well, I want my husband, I want my home, I'm going to just take it." I didn't do that. I started making preparations to get out of the marriage. He just didn't know. I didn't go shoot him. I didn't go lay hands on him. I didn't hit him. I started making preparations. I started making plans. Before he knew it, he was divorced. He was out of the house and he was divorced. Because if you're not going to pay the mortgage, you're not going to live here. If you're not going to buy grocery, you're not going to eat the grocery I buy. And then go hang out with your friends and lay on the couch and play PlayStation all day. I'm not raising a little boy. We had been married at that time almost 12 years when he decided he wanted to take a turn for the worse. But there were signs going on. But I started making preparation and plans. And I moved in silence. That's what we all should do. That's what Kadejah Brown should have done. She should have started making plans. She was with her mother. Her mother should have been talking to her. Don't argue with this man. Let this man go on out to work. Get out of his way. Move. Her mother could have influenced her to cut it down, cut it off. Her mother was in the background. "Yeah, so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah, where you going? What you doing?" She was right along with the daughter. So the daughter was raised up that way. The father wasn't around. He wasn't in the picture. So I don't know if Kadejah had a daddy in the house or not. But my point is, she was acting out of order and her mother was right along with her, which means her mother taught her that behavior. And we have to be careful. We have to give an account of how we raise our children. We have to answer for that. Now, her mother is just as guilty as her daughter. She might not have pulled the trigger, but she was in her ear and she was egging it on. She was egging it on. I'm not going to stand by and let my daughter keep her husband from going out of the house to work. And I'm not going to allow her to start hitting on him. I'm not going to allow him to hit on her. Somebody got to go. We got to separate this. Her mother should have been intervening. And her daughter would be at home with her children today. She wouldn't be going to prison. Because let me tell you something. There's other men out there, women, and there's other women out there, men. It's not that much love in the world. You want to shoot somebody because they don't want to be with you. It ain't that much hate in the world because he don't want to pay rent. I'm going to shoot him. It's just, so you're going to end your whole life because somebody don't want to pay some bills? Somebody don't want to buy some diapers? You can't, now you done changed everybody's life. He's gone. He don't even know what happened. He don't even remember it. He don't know nothing. He's gone. The children will remember seeing their mother shoot their daddy because they were right there and they were screaming. They seen the whole thing. So at the end of the day, she was the one that brought on this dreadful and tragic ending in front of her children. She was harping on how bad her husband was, but she was the one who had that rooted hate and evilness down in her, and resentment and bitterness. And when you start getting that way and start acting in your emotions, you don't think. You're not thinking. And people, you know, it's easy to say, walk away. Sometimes you be so angry. But if you have a history of domestic violence, why do you even have a gun? Why do you even have a gun? It was horrible. I could hear it because the screen was black. You hear the gunfire, and it was just horrific. The kids were screaming. She's screaming. The mother now screaming. She's screaming, I don't want to go to jail. Now she's scared. It was horrific. It was horrible. And then you airing everything out on social media. You arguing. She cuts the camera on and she's arguing with her husband, putting it all out there across the world, trying to humiliate this man. When you love somebody, supposedly, you don't humiliate them. You argue in the house. Yeah, you don't get along. Sometimes you fighting, but you don't humiliate somebody. Everybody is on Facebook and YouTube. There's millions of people around the world. She had her husband on Facebook Live humiliating him. Now, I don't know what kind of man he was, but in the video, he was not the aggressor. He was not yelling and screaming. He started yelling and screaming when she was putting her hands on him. He kept saying, get your hands off me. Don't touch me. I'm just trying to go to work. Let me go to work. Let me go to work. She just needed to step to the side, let the man go to work. I really don't think she thought that he was going to work. I think she thought he was going somewhere else. Someone on Facebook made a video and they allegedly were alleging that she caught her husband in an extramarital affair with the opposite sex. Now that's alleged because I don't know. I didn't read that. That's allegedly. It's allegedly. That was on a Facebook video, a Facebook post. I don't know. That was not in here. But I don't know how long ago that was. At this particular time when she was arguing with him, she was talking about taking care of her children. And I could hear the mother saying something about, where are you going? Where that at? Where that at? Something like that. But they were both harping on him and questioning him. And they were just so out of line. They had no respect for this man at all. And really and truly, when you get to the point that you don't respect someone, you shouldn't be around them. If you have to respect someone. If you don't respect them, you should not be around the person. And they were showing absolutely no regard for this man. And no matter what he did, if he wasn't paying bills, if he was sleeping around, whatever, you didn't have to shoot him. He didn't deserve to die by your hands. You need to make preparation for yourself and get out. I've known plenty of people, that were abused. I have friends that were beaten and abused and almost killed by their spouses, and I just always would sit back. And when me and my ex-husband would argue and I got to the point that I didn't respect him and he started doing irrespectable things, I had to get out of there. Because it was growing, I was getting bitter and I was growing resentful, and it would turn to hate. And then I could be in the same position that Kadejah is in. Because when you start getting those feelings, you start thinking of doing things because they're hurting you and they're not showing you any regard. They're not showing you any respect. They're not giving you that love that they promised that they would give you when you first met them. They broke all those promises, So it's not good to even make promises to people because you can't keep them. So this way, if you don't make a promise, you're not expecting it. You're not expecting it. you know? And you do have to be careful how you treat people, because everybody can't take mistreatment and disrespect. Everybody can't. You don't know how somebody's going to react. So it's not just the aggressor's fault. It's also the victim's fault if you are antagonizing and mistreating the person to cause them to do them things. Now, if you're not doing them things, they just popping on you for nothing, that's a different story. But I do know people who antagonize their better half, and then when the better half go off and stomp them to the ground, then it's their fault. But you were antagonizing them. I seen another video on YouTube where another young woman shot and killed her boyfriend. He didn't want to be with her anymore, but in the video, he was recording her, and he was laughing, and he was antagonizing her, picking at her, calling her baby mama, and you crazy, I want to be with you no more, instead of leaving her alone. And he would upload those videos, humiliating her. She killed him. Instead of leaving someone alone that you don't want, you antagonize them, and then they kill you, and now everybody's looking at her and pitying him. It's sad, but he antagonized the girl so bad on those videos, and he was laughing and picking at her, and it was horrible. And she snapped, and she went looking for him, and she blowed him away. You can't do those things. And this girl here, if she didn't like what he was doing, the mother should have been talking to her. If it was my daughter, I have a daughter. If it was my daughter and that was going on and she was calling me, telling me, I would tell her, make preparations, get your stuff together, and you need to get out. Don't say anything. Don't argue, because it's only going to get worse. Get your stuff and get out. Make preparations. Don't stay around for the abuse. If he's cheating on you, that's emotional and mental abuse. If he's not paying bills and he should, that's financial abuse and emotional abuse and mental abuse, because you're worrying how you're going to pay the bills. So you don't take any kind of abuse. Same thing for men. You have women that abuse men all the time. Don't take it. Don't stay to the point that you have to kill someone, is what I'm saying. And I want to touch on that because, if he was doing them things, that's abuse. If he wasn't paying bills, he was cheating on her, that is abuse. And you can mess up somebody's mind up here. Okay? But I don't know if he was doing them things. That's what she was saying in the video. Not about the cheating part, but she was saying, and I seemed like the mother was referencing something about, like, where was he going or who that is or something, So I don't know. I didn't read that in the article. But what I'm saying is, don't act out of emotion. She was so emotional, and when she was antagonizing him, she really wasn't screaming. She was just like so mad, like matter of fact, like, you ain't taking care of your kids. Where you going? Where you going? You ain't going nowhere. Stepping in front of him. But she really wasn't yelling and stuff. It's like she already had it. She already had it. And she wasn't yelling and screaming. But her emotions were, a lot of times you in your emotions, you yelling, you screaming, you crying. Her emotions were flatlined. It's like she was just bitter and she had just had it. That's what I could hear in her tone when she was on the video. And he was emotional because he was like being bullied. He was being bullied. That's what I could get. We all probably pull something different from the videos, But I hate this happened. He was young. She's only 28. The children don't have no parents now. She's going to be gone for a long time. And that same mother who was antagonizing him right along with her daughter probably would wind up with the children. So how are they going to be raised? How are they going to turn out? How are they going to treat their spouses? Because this woman raised this girl. And this is what she taught her because she was right along with her. So now what are the grandkids going to learn when she actually have them in her grasp and have them in her custody? Because that's probably where they're going to go. So we're going to have some more dysfunctional adults. We're going to have some more dysfunctional adults if they're raised by her hand. And it's sad, it's a cycle. It keeps going. And parents are supposed to train their children and teach them the right way, not gang up on people with your kids. And the daughter was absolutely in the wrong because he was asking to leave. So she was in the wrong. Now, what started it, I don't know. But from the video, she was in the wrong. When somebody's asking you to leave, you let them leave. That's kidnapping. You can't hold nobody against their will, husband or not. That's kidnapping. He could have pressed charges and said, she won't let me leave. She's keeping me against my will. So she was definitely out of line. She was out of order. Anytime you hold somebody against their will, that's wrong. It's illegal. You can't do that. You know? So I'm going to end it here. I hope the video made sense, you know, and just try to stay out of your emotions, guys, you know, and try to think. Try to leave the situation. Don't just sit there and argue. If somebody's arguing and screaming, maybe you can tone it down. Don't say nothing. You know, sometimes it's not always good to say something. I do come back sometimes. I'm not going to lie now. I will say something if I think I'm right. But a lot of times, I'll just be like, okay, whatever. And just stop. Because I'm not going to just keep going. It can get out of hand. And I don't want nobody shooting me and slapping me upside my head and pulling my hair out. And I don't want to go through all that. And I don't want to hit nobody. You know, I just don't want to do that. And you never know what somebody's thinking. This girl could have had this in her head the whole time. Because where the gun come from so quick? Because I don't remember when I was listening to the video, all I heard was arguing. I don't remember hearing her step away. Her voice didn't fade. Not the video I heard. Her voice to me did not fade. It's like they was in each other's face the whole time. So I'm thinking, was the gun nearby? Or did she have it on her persons the whole time? Because when you're arguing, I mean, they argued the whole time, then you just heard shots. It's not like she went to another room unless he followed her or something. I don't know. Unless they were in the room where the gun was, but it was near. It was near. It's not like she had to go get it from what I was getting from the video. It's not like she had to go down the hall and go get it, because then you wouldn't have heard her anymore, and then he could have got out the door. Because he was trying to leave. So he couldn't get out the door. So she had him somewhere where she could get that gun. And she just popped him. And I could have sworn it was like 2 or 3 pops, you know. And it was so chaotic. And I just can't imagine being in that vicinity, in that situation. It was horrible. You couldn't see it because she laid the phone down. But you can hear it and you can imagine. And it was screaming. It was just horrible, guys. So you all be safe out there. Be careful. You know, try to de-escalate things. Don't. And if somebody's in your ear egging it on, you tell them to shut up. And they're not good for you, parents or who. If you got parents egging it on, cousins, friends, and whatever, egging a bad situation on, putting you or somebody else in danger, because he could have snapped and broke her neck. He could have snapped and shot her. And then, do we even know if he knew she had a gun? Has she already thought about, I'm going to get him next time he do so and so? You never know. It'll all come out, but you never know what someone was thinking. You know? You just don't. And I believe her mother could have diffused it. I really do. I believe her mother could have diffused it, and she didn't. She egged it on. I'm telling you. And it was just horrible. And if you have somebody like that in your life, don't be around them. I don't care who it is, because that's not good. It's just not good. Nobody should be egging any negativity on in your life, okay? So that being said, I'm going to say Phil Danke. That's thank you very much in German. So Phil Danke for watching me, and choose. That's what? That's bye in German.